We're being siloed into a bubble. Our likes empower the algorithm. It feeds us what we want, to keep us engaged. It wants to sell our attention. We slip deeper into a constraining narrative. But we must break free. We must burst the bubble. Truths will be learned. Cognitive dissonance will make our hearts and heads ache. Different perspectives will bring us wisdom. Some truths will be hilarious, others painful. But we must be free. We must break into the DisAgorithm.
All right, welcome to the DisAgorithm. It's a Thursday morning. We're waiting to get the vote on the big beautiful bill. I think Hakeem Jeffries is still speaking, still filibustering. Yeah.
To ensure that people who get their insurance
Yeah, he's been speaking for a while, so I don't think that's going to end anytime soon. So we're going to look at my feed and then break into the DisAgorithm. We'll check back on Timo Obama. Alright, Kevin Sorbo. Ironic that Obama, the guy who destroyed healthcare with Obamacare, is lecturing Trump on the BBB. Yeah, he really ruined it. Obamacare is such a garbage dump. Let's see what he's saying.
They just had where.
And now remember what Einstein said: the people that created the problem cannot solve it.
They just had where they found like 20-something billion dollars that was like, it was supposed to be earmarked for homeless help in California that went missing, right? How does money go missing once you're in these places, do you think? Newsom confronted at press conference about $24 billion spent on tackling homelessness. Like, how does stuff like that, and it didn't have to be this specifically, but once you're in office and you see these huge amounts of money, how does stuff like that just go by the wayside where it gets, lost or missing, hypothetically, do you think?
Well, first of all, let me just say, none of those politicians I would want to run my company.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're losing
None of those
24 billion.
companies, none of those politicians, I would like to hand over my checkbook, my bank account, and say, you manage it now.
Yeah.
So that's where it starts. So they're not that smart when it comes to solving problems. And so I can totally understand how $24 billion is missing, because it's wasted. They cannot even show it. They cannot even have any accountability. Yeah. But this has been going on for 20 years now. We're not talking about just for the last few years. Everyone has been complaining about the homeless, but they don't really tell you that this was created by the politicians, the homelessness. No, it was created by having people go and say, we don't want no growth in California. So when you have when I came over here, it was 19, 20 million people in California. So now when you go to 40 million people, you would know mathematically now you need 12-lane highways. Then when you have to, when you go from 20 to 40 million people, then you need twice as many houses. You need twice as much of everything. They didn't. They didn't take care of them because the environmentalists thought that if we say no growth, then no one will come. But in the meantime, no one gives a shit about that. They come anyway. And then they somehow then live 3 people in one apartment or 5 people in one apartment, or sometimes with workers that sometimes live 10 people in one apartment.
Yeah, they'll really be.
But it's amount of housing. Now the prices rise. Now when the prices go up, the value of the apartment building goes up. So the unit that used to cost $600 now costs $3,000 a month. But the salaries, the wages didn't go up accordingly. So now you have people that are economically homeless. They cannot afford paying for their rent anymore. So this is created by the politicians. And now remember what Einstein said: the people that created the problem cannot solve it. So they are doing the same thing over, which is another thing Einstein said. If you try to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results, that's the definition of insanity.
And it feels like that's what we're living.
So this
these
is what
days.
we are dealing with here. So we have, the city here is not able to manage with this whole thing. On a state level, we are not able to manage this whole thing. So it's like I had to go. I mean, we had the homeless veterans camping out in front of the Veterans Administration up there in Westwood.
Oh yeah, right over there, 405 in Santa Monica.
They're camping out there, and no one is helping them. So I went and I started making a deal, and I said, can we not put inside some houses, little houses? And they said yes. And I donated the money, and we started building houses. And since then, there's now hundreds of houses inside the Veterans Administration, and the homeless are gone.
Yeah,
because they wanted to help the Veterans Administration, but it took a while, and the city kept saying, oh, it is too difficult to do, and this is really challenging to do. I said, watch that. Within 2 months, we had those houses there, and we created homes for 25 people so they could move in, just to show to the city it can be done. Don't give me this, it can't be done. Anything can be done if there's a will to it with the whole thing.
Yep. Arnold Schwarzenegger making some sense. Yeah. Instead of telling everyone to screw their freedom, he's making some sense now. So that's good. Of course, when you got common sense, you're going to piss off the other side.
There's a pretty cool music festival that's become super corporate. It's called Burning Man. It's in the middle of the desert. Tickets sell for thousands of dollars depending on the kind of fancy tent you buy. But that's nothing compared to the UK version of that festival called Glastonbury. £400, that's almost $700 for a regular ticket. This is not a poor people's concert. It's for the fancy people. And one of the observations people always make is that the politics of Glastonbury are very much left-wing, progressive, exhibitionist, virtue signaling, luxury beliefs that come with a luxury concert. For example, the security around Glastonbury is enormous. Very tall fences, high security gates, while inside they talk about having no borders style open immigration. It's quite something. It's always been left-wing, but yesterday hit a new low. Take a look at this singer from the band called Bob Dylan. I wonder if he knows that his riff on Bob Dylan, that Bob Dylan was a Jew named Robert Zimmerman. I don't think he knows, and he might change the name if he knew, because let me just sum it up. That guy doesn't really like Jews, and he doesn't really like England either. I'm going to play 2 clips from him. Here he is chanting for the globalization of the Intifada and the ethnic cleansing of Israel. Here, take a listen. Yeah, you don't normally hear someone calling for chants of death outside of Gaza, but there it is amongst the fanciest in the UK, and they just cheered. But it's not just the Jews he has in his targets. Although he himself was actually born in the UK, he despises the place. Here, give him a listen. The reason I mention that is because that was streamed live on the BBC state broadcaster.
Why is he dressed like a golfer?
Musical act by Glastonbury, and it was of a piece with
tennis
other pro-terrorist acts. And I say pro-terrorist. Here they are in the United Kingdom, actually breaking out a terrorist flag, which is quite something. I mean, if I said to you, can you acquire a terrorist flag, you would probably say, I'm not sure how to do that. These guys figured it out, and they were only too happy to fly it. Take a look. Well, lots of humming and hawing the day afterwards, but the Met Police, which is a large police force in the United Kingdom, has announced that they will not be filing charges against Kneecap, despite their overt support for terrorist groups. And Bob Dylan is at his most popular ever. I think his talent agency has dropped him, and I understand that the U.S. State Department has now canceled his visa. He was planning a U.S. tour, and he's planning to come to Canada too. I say all this because that is the state of political discourse on the BBC, in pop culture, in the music biz, and all of it is madly applauded and at most some tut-tutting by police. Compare that to a mother named Lucy Connolly, who momentarily had a tweet using intemperate words in reaction to the stabbing of young girls by a Muslim convert in Southport some months ago. Lucy Connolly, for a tweet that she quickly deleted, was sentenced to 31 months in prison. 31 months in prison, a decision that was upheld by an appeal court. Welcome to two-tier United Kingdom. What a place to be. And joining us now is one of my favorite guys who
Horrible.
I think is the personification of the British spirit. You got
We're just as bad, though.
David
We're
Atherton. He's a
right
freelance
there with
journalist
all
and
this
he joins us.
craziness.
Now, David, great to see you.
And you, it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Have you ever been to Glastonbury, or is it just not your style?
Oh, I can't afford 400 quid. That's just the cheap seats.
Yeah, 400
Also,
to get
What?
the cheap seats. He
What is it?
really
Oh,
is
okay.
the
Cheap.
fanciest people. I saw
Can't
some
understand him.
crowd shots, and I've got cosplaying as progressives. I think they were enjoying the frisson
No, it is what
of
the progressives are.
badness of cheering for Hezbollah.
All the rich people are progressive. What are you talking about?
These are people who work behind desks, often for the government, often for NGOs.
Yeah.
And this was they get to play act as being bad boys for the weekend. But they fully embraced anti-Semitism and I think anti-Britishism. That's my take. What do you think?
Oh, I agree with you on that. It's a liberal left of prayer, so to speak, isn't it? It's as far as I'm concerned, these are the people that have apart from the Marxists who have marched long through the institutions, have all these woke ideologies and love to have trans kids and they're right on and they're all pro-Palestinian, they're all anti-Semitic, they're all anti-Israel. They're the most appalling people in the world, and they're the people I despise the most. And also, one of the things that Bob Viner did was, he said one of these was, one of the phrases that people on the centre right use: "We want to take our country back," and he absolutely was contemptuous of that phrase, the fact that British people want to be ruled by, if you like, with the British culture. That to my mind was equally as offensive on the way he went about things. Though the death to IDF was bad enough, but he really did make a complete horlicks of himself, a complete idiot of himself, and he's paying the price for it. Also, by the way, his record company's dropped him as well. It's not only his management; his record company has dropped him as well. And when the Glastonbury Festival and the BBC both apologised for his performance, they've done quite a bit wrong. So,
well, I take your point that certain musical establishments are now distancing themselves, but I think he's probably more popular now than ever. He's got more publicity now than ever, and in the age of the.
Hold on, I'm gonna check on what's going on. Is he just still yammering?
The amendment introduced by Representative Mike Thompson that was designed to ensure that Americans would not see their energy costs go up. It was also designed.
He's getting tired.
To protect the good paying
we'll check
American
back.
jobs.
Check back when everyone's asleep.
The internet, I think he's going to do very well. I mean, kneecap.
Well, we've seen like
the crazier they
pretty
go,
much
the more
what we need
pro-terrorists
to
they go, the more free headlines they.
I bookmark that. I'll watch it later. The heck is this fish showing that it's not over until it's over? It's just buffering though.
Everybody pretending like all these.
This is Leonardo's opinion of Mexican food.
Uh-oh.
Tired of everybody pretending like all these migrants have great food. Third world food is a scam. Mexican food sucks. Don't at me in the comments, you've never had guac.
I disagree.
Avocado smashed up. Don't tell me that people who are on the brink of starvation know anything about fine cuisine. Oh, but the spices, the seasoning. The reason they got to use so many spices is because you're eating a pigeon.
Leonardo, okay, my immigration plan.
Am I wrong?
No, yes,
wrong?
you're 100,000. You couldn't be any more wrong, and I don't give a damn if pigeons.
I would love for you. Okay, what are these
Mexican
tamales?
food is awesome.
Tamales are the most most disgusting things I've ever
I
had.
love tamales.
It's just cornmeal. It's
How do you not like
cornmeal with
tamales?
a
I eat
little
tamales every
cornmeal with a
Christmas with my
little bit of
family.
meat because they're too poor to give you enough protein to sustain yourself. This is why Mexican women look like box fridges.
This is Leonardo's opinion of
Jeez.
Mexican food.
I'm tired of everybody pretending like
Oh, he's still just going on. A deportation machine will be unleashed on steroids if Trump's. Yeah, that's what we voted for, dude.
Manu wasn't the only one. Speaker, that's not what this country should be all about. Manu wasn't the only one. The only American citizen who's been targeted
Oh, great.
by the deportation machine, a deportation machine that will be unleashed on steroids by this
Yay.
one big ugly bill.
Pass it immediately.
We know that, in fact, is the case. That's not hyperbole, Speaker.
Look,
That's
he's got
not.
he's got timer right here. It's been speaking for 6:03. Well, that was back then when they clipped this. Let me see if they got the timer over here. Who was that covering it? C-SPAN. Let's go to C-SPAN. I want to see the timer of it. They got him. Where is he? Come on, C-SPAN. What the heck? I want the one with the timer. Is that C-SPAN one? I can't find it. That's Fox. Maybe. Oh. Well, dang it. Let's keep it here. Skip this. Dear Democrats, please keep doing what you're doing. Voters can see that you are crazy and should never be in charge again. Yes. Timu Obama. I'm sure that's funny. But it's gonna have a song that I can't play, so. The Supreme Court just agreed to hear the case on allowing states to ban males from female sports in schools. The Supreme Court took up appeals in Idaho and West Virginia of the decision by lower courts, which sided with trans students. This is huge. Yeah, They just stopped or revoked Leah Thompson's. How do you spell it? Leah Thomas. Is that how you spell her name? Oh, it's Lia.
UPenn agrees to follow President. A big victory for women's sports as UPenn agrees to follow President Trump's mandate and ban transgender women from female sports teams. The Ivy League school will also revoke trans swimmer Leah Thomas of her titles. And all female athletes displaced by Thomas will be reinstated and get a written apology from the school. Thomas's former teammates. We have Margot Kaczorowski. We also have Ellen Holmquist. They've both filed a lawsuit against the university earlier this year, and they're also joined by their attorney, Bill Bott. Good morning to all of you.
Morning.
Good morning,
Ainsley. Good morning. Good morning. All right, Margot, I'll start with you because you were in two of the same events as Leah Thomas. You were denied your win because Leah was competing, your recognition. So how does this new news affect you?
Yeah, so I try to think about it more on like a broader scale because I'm really not doing this for myself or anything. What I went through was hard enough, but really I'm doing this for the future generation of girls to go through the program, to go through D1 athletics, and I really want just what's best for them. So I would like for women's rights to be upheld to the utmost standard and for those titles and records to come down.
Is this enough for you, what they did?
It's a good starting point, and I'm really grateful for the Trump administration and what they are doing to protect women, but there's so much more to go. They wouldn't be doing this without the federal government forcing them. So I think we have a long way to go to make sure that women's rights are upheld and policies are in place to ensure the verification process that it's only females in women's sports.
Okay. Now, Ellen, you were left off the 2022 Ivy Championship team roster because Leah Thomas participated. You missed that by one spot. So this latest news doesn't mean that you're competing again. It doesn't mean that can change that. How do you feel?
I think this is a good step in the right direction. Like Margot said, I'm really doing this for future Penn swimmers, future young girls that want to compete in college sports and make sure that this situation that happened to me never happens to someone else in the future. But there are still a lot of steps that need to be taken by Penn and other universities that have been going down this path. So I'm excited to see the change and appreciate the administration and the help of icons with this.
Okay, Bill, you were the lead attorney in the investigation of Lance Armstrong. You have a lot of experience with sports laws and Title IX cases. What do you think about this?
Well, the interesting thing, Ainsley, is that at the same time they're telling President Trump at the University of Pennsylvania that there are 4 women in women's sports and they're going to protect them. They're fighting Margot and Ellen and their teammate Grace in court, and they have an acknowledged responsibility in court. So we're seeing very inconsistent positions from the University of Pennsylvania, and which is why we're continuing to pursue the lawsuit against the school.
Yeah, we're all wondering if other schools will follow suit. Why do you think, what did it? I know that President Trump and the Department of Education, they were the ones going after UPenn. What changed UPenn's mind?
Well, more than $100 million was on the line, and I think they simply made a decision to say what the president wanted them to say and make a commitment. But it's not a binding commitment. That's why we're continuing the lawsuit, to get a judge to tell them what Title IX means and tell them to stop changing your position and have one position of protecting, defending women and their opportunities like the law requires.
Margot and Ellen, the school says they're going to send personalized apology letters to the affected female swimmers. Have either of you received a letter? Margot, I'll start with you.
Yes, I did receive a letter last night, and while they, are kind of acknowledging what went on that year, they're really not taking, full accountability the way that I wish that they would. And I think that they have an opportunity here if they're going to accept responsibility to then work with us, work with girls who actually want to see change and ensure that women's rights are protected going forward, but they're not doing that. They're still fighting us. I'm hoping that they can kind of get on that path.
Okay. Ellen, how about you? Did you receive a letter?
I also did receive a letter in that same vein. It was more so passing the blame onto the NCAA saying they were abiding the rules at that time, and these are the rules at this time, so it wouldn't be allowed now. But it's really not acknowledging the fact that that was completely wrong in the time of 2022. So I'm hoping that things start to change and they take this opportunity to take full responsibility in court.
Yeah, I'm sorry it didn't change things for you ladies, but I am glad for the future generations. Thank you so much. Margot, Ellen, Bill, thanks for getting up early for us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Ainsley.
You're welcome.
I'm Steve.
So crazy. So crazy. What? Just that. I mean, I don't think it's over, but this short little snippet of time in history of just crazy transgender stuff. I mean, we're seeing pushback now. I don't think it's over. I think if Democrats get back in power in this country, there's going to be big problems in that area. But yeah, I just think everyone lost their freaking mind. A man cannot become a woman, and putting a man that says he's a woman in sports against women, I mean, that's so horrible. I don't understand how it happened. Well, I do understand how it happened. It's because everyone wants to just let anyone do what they want as far as sexuality and identity. And it's mostly, I don't want to say who it is, but man, there's certain people that are pushing this. Certain people. I mean, I'm not, I don't know. I don't know. If we ever have a woman president, I hope she's very right wing, because women be crazy, and women support the craziest stuff. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, people are gonna look back on this time and just be like, "What the hell were you guys even doing?" That's cool.
Why?
Open it, because you keep. Are you trying to open it? If you don't give me that fucking can, I'm gonna stab you soon.
Why?
Open it, because you keep. Are you trying to open it?
No. I can
Oh
open
my
it
God!
easy.
I'm like,
no, my God, I can open it like that.
okay, I'm like, what the?
No, I'm just playing with it. Sorry.
Now what is that?
No. It's nicotine pouch.
They good?
Oh yeah, they're good. You want one?
What flavor?
It's a
This
hat.
is spearmint.
Am I gonna?
I hate those. Let's see. NATO chief stuns Ukraine with truth bomb on arm freeze. America comes first. Good. Finally. Now do Israel. There's a lot of hubbub about an attack that might be coming on July 4th. I can spell. Can't spell, can't read.
A former NASA engineer just created a way to turn any smartphone into a $5,000 DSLR camera.
Law enforcement is warning Americans to be vigilant as they celebrate the July 4th holiday, with lone wolf terrorism the top concern. National correspondent Matt Galka reports from Washington.
I mean, it makes sense. We just bombed
As
Iran.
millions around the country get ready to celebrate Independence Day, a warning from the Department of Homeland Security. ABC News reports multiple bulletins from the FBI and DHS have cited lone wolf attackers as the biggest concern heading into the holiday, potentially inspired by terrorist organizations. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said they were monitoring all threats following U.S. strikes on Iran nuclear facilities.
We've seen some from overseas and some that have been here, maybe gone overseas for a short period of time, become radicalized and come back, or individuals that are right here in the United States. So we have to watch for all of it and to be diligent on all of it, and we'll continue to do so.
The bulletins reportedly mention San Francisco and New York specifically. With large crowds expected to watch fireworks in both places, authorities are concerned about copycats mirroring other terror attacks we've already seen this year. Law enforcement cited the New Orleans truck attack on Bourbon Street from New Year's Day. Former FBI Special Agent Ken Gray says oftentimes a lone wolf attacker leaves less of a paper trail when planning to do harm.
People are traveling internationally. They may have communications that are international. They may receive funding. They may receive training. Those type of things are red flags that are easier to detect than somebody who on their own decides to adopt a certain philosophy.
A separate warning from the FBI says threats are not only hanging over in-person events, but they're also coming in the form of cyber attacks. The FBI put out a message on the hacking group called Scattered Spider, who are now targeting airline systems. The hackers pose as real employees or contractors to gain access to sensitive information, and they're suspected of targeting at least 2 major airlines in June. Reporting in Washington, I'm Matt Gelka.
So hopefully that doesn't happen tomorrow. He's still just yammering on. Let's hear what he says. Let's
to my journey and my
tune in.
brother's journey. 1973, my younger brother was born with a serious heart condition. He's okay right now. He's doing well.
Okay.
Borders and lower taxes and more prosperity, and there is no alternative. Failure is not an option. The president ran and spoke and cast his vision for the last few years of secure borders and lower taxes and more prosperity and the American dream for everyone. In this role, though, what this bill does for our farmers and our ranchers and really all Americans, putting almost $10,000 on average back into American pockets for our 2 million farmers no longer subject to the death tax. When we talk about the fact that we've lost 180,000 family farms over the last 4 to 5 years, this is a game changer on how we keep farms in the family and out of the hands of the Chinese and foreign ownerships. When we think about what we need to do to ensure our food supply, which really means national security, what this bill does for the reference prices in agriculture and things like 45Z and 100% expensing, it is a game changer for our farmers and ranchers and, frankly, for all of America. There is no alternative. Failure is not an option. The president...
I like the B-roll that they're using for the farmer is migrant work, illegal immigrant workers. Well, I'm assuming it's a migrant worker in the field. All right. Let's see. Washington, D.C. man sentenced to 30 years in prison for conspiracy to commit sex trafficking of a child, production of child, and then first degree child. All right. Why is this a press release? Is it just one guy? I don't know why that's a press release. Come on, Dan Bendino. Where's the Epstein file? They should have had Hunter do the filibuster. He could stay up for days. All we really needed was a new president.
New legislation. We must have. The media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying we needed new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. But it turned out that all we really needed.
Trump killed the bill. It's his fault. Just need a new president. Remember they were saying that? Trump killed the border bill. It's his fault all the immigration is happening. It's him. He did it. Meanwhile, that bill just codified a bunch of illegal immigration so that it made it legal. It made it so that they could fast track all the people that were using the app to sign up for asylum, and they could just push them through. And these were fake asylum seekers. They weren't real people that were in trouble that needed asylum. They were just poor people that wanted to come over and suck off the government, our government. It's like just being poor and wanting to work in a different place isn't grounds for asylum. We all need jobs here. I mean, my wife has been looking for a job forever. She cannot find a job. What is he replying about?
A deportation machine that will be unleashed on steroids by this one big ugly bill. A deportation.
Alright, let's break into the DisAgorithm. I'm gonna pop the bubble, check out what the other side is saying. Just a lifetime ago, whoever this person is, I don't know why they're on there. In the United States, our grandfathers could buy a home, buy a car, have 3 to 4 children, keep their wives at home, take annual vacations, and then retire all on one middle class salary. What happened? Oh, she's based. Alright, then I can't like that. I'm not going to say anything. Be dumb. Let's see. Mike Johnson is so desperate for Donald Trump's approval, he's selling out 40% of his own district. What a small, pathetic man. He's trying to be like Trump. Look at him. What a small, pathetic man. He's trying to be like him. More than 16 million Americans are at risk of losing their health care because Republicans in Congress are rushing to pass a bill that would cut federal funding for Medicaid and weaken their Affordable Care Act. If the House passes this bill, it will increase costs and hurt families for generations, and hurt working class families for generations to come. Call your representative today and tell them to vote no on this bill. Yeah, of course they just lie. Laughing it up in front of cages designed to hold human beings like animals. This is MAGA. Gee, we never put people behind bars or anything. No. Chain link fences. Oh, that's so much worse. Imagine being a grown man waiting for Donald Trump to tell you what to do. LOL, super beta. Who's he talking about? Oh. He's dumb though. Breaking: chaos erupted in the House after a surprising move by Republican Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick from Pennsylvania voted no on the rule to get the actual vote on the bill, making him the fourth Republican to join Democrats in blocking the bill. Mike Johnson is panicking in the House floor as the vote stands at 260 to 204 opposing the rule, and wants to keep the vote open to pressure his members to flip, but members are losing their patience. So what is that, a practice vote, or? I don't understand. Before final vote expected later Thursday morning. Okay, so they're doing a final vote after Yakimore stops talking.
Aaron developed ice block.
When I saw what was happening in this country, I wanted to do something to fight back.
Joshua Aaron developed Ice Block. It's a free, crowdsourced app that alerts users when immigration and customs enforcement agents are spotted within a 5-mile radius of their location.
So imagine if you're walking down the street and a notification comes up on your device that says ICE has been spotted 4 blocks ahead. Instead of continuing down that path, you can turn left or turn around and avoid the situation altogether.
I'm looking at LA now. I'm seeing one in East Hollywood, and then as I zoom out, it's showing me a few others.
One of the core principles of the design of this app is 100% anonymity for our user base. But there is no sign-up process. There is no user data collected. There's no user data even captured by our app. The app was designed to inform, not obstruct.
I'm sure it's real trustworthy,
it's
yeah.
to remind people that
It'd be a shame if a bunch of people downloaded that and started making false reports. It'd be a shame. Be a shame. Donald Trump is attacking me because he is desperate to distract from his war on working people. We must and we will fight back.
Someone who would also be the first. Yesterday, Donald Trump said that I should be arrested. He said that I should be deported. He said that I should be denaturalized.
Yeah.
And he said those things
because you said you would stop ICE.
Someone who stands to be the first immigrant mayor of this city in generations. Someone who would also be the first Muslim and the first South Asian mayor in this city's history. Less so because of who I am, because of where I come from, because of how I look or how I speak, and more so because he wants to distract from what I fight for. I fight for working people. I fight for the very people that have been priced out of this city, and I fight for the same people that he said he was fighting for. This is the same president who ran on a campaign of cheaper groceries, who ran on a campaign about easing a suffocating cost of living crisis. And ultimately, it is easier for him to fan the flames of division than to acknowledge the ways in which he has betrayed those working class Americans, not just in this city, but across this country, and the ways in which he continues to betray them. Because we know that he would rather speak about me than speak about the legislation that he is shepherding through Washington, D.C. Legislation that will quite literally take health care away from Americans. Legislation that will steal food from the hungry. Legislation that looks to build upon one of the largest transfers of wealth we've seen in recent history in his first administration and do it once again.
Wow, he's got a point there.
Who already have enough. We should be fighting for those that
Who were the morons that kept it closed, though? He didn't want to keep America closed.
I'm thankful to have the protection and to have the support of so many New Yorkers who have stood up and said how unacceptable this is.
Democrats wanted to keep the country closed, so they're all scared of a dumb virus that didn't even do anything. That's what caused the transfer of wealth, and then they spent all that money. At least Trump gave us checks. most of the money went to all the people that signed up for the recovery crap or whatever. I don't know. It's just a big steal. It's crazy. To act like that was all Trump's fault is crazy too.
You know what? Your chances for that. It's the idea that it does proliferate in case they just get eaten by an alligator or a snake or something. I guess that's the concept. This is not a nice business. I guess that's the concept. If the snakes are fast, but alligators are, but we're going to teach them how to run away from an alligator, okay? If they escape prison, how to run away. Don't run in a straight line. Run like this. And you know what? Your chances go up about 1%. Okay? Not a good thing.
You call yourself Christian and chuckle at the idea of brown people being chased by alligators. Here's a newsflash. You aren't. Oh, okay. It is funny what he said, though. Gonna teach him to run like this. Last night, a bunch of Republicans in the House were saying how awful this bill was. Only took a couple hours, some merch, and a few words from Donald Trump, and they're lining up to rip away health care from 17 million people. I'm sadly not surprised. I am still outraged. Yeah. All the same bullcrap. I don't like that it adds to our deficit. No one's going to be kicked off Medicare or Medicaid unless they don't deserve to be on it. It's just going to kick off people that should be working and people that don't exist and illegals. And that just happens to be a lot of people. You should be getting Medicaid if you're living in your mom's basement and just refuse to get a job. Although it is hard to get a job right now. Just figure it out. We're all struggling here. If you go to the emergency room, you aren't going to be turned away, so I don't know what the big deal is about having Medicare and Medicaid. It just incentivize all the doctors and all the pharmaceutical companies to just boost up their prices and just milk everyone for that money from the government that is taken from all the taxpayers. I mean, that's what caused prices to skyrocket, was all this insurance.
I revere that office, and I know I made a comment about the Alcatraz.
So if you're just dealing with a local doctor, you're just going, "Hey doc, I'm having this issue." The doc's going to give you a fair price. But when you got all these middlemen, covering you with saying we're gonna pay your bill and you just gotta pay us every month, or the taxpayers or whatever. That's what causes prices to skyrocket. If you're just dealing one-on-one with the doctor, the price isn't going to be very much. But it's just a huge racket. That's all it is.
Alligator. And I know I made a comment about the Alcatraz alligator. That was just, these are flim-flammers. They're not serious people. What an embarrassment. Imagine the rest of the world looking at that. Mocking people, saying, well, if you're going to run, zig and zag. The President of the United States of America. I revere that office. We all should. Founding fathers didn't live and die to see that show. What an embarrassment. $450 million a year of wasted tax money for pure theater. So They're strong opinions, but we'll continue to push back in very aggressive ways.
Yeah, we wouldn't have to do all
I
this
made a comment.
if you didn't let 20 million freaking illegals into the country. I think it's funny. I think he talks like an American. I think he talks just like a regular man. And that's what people like. That's why people voted for him. He's hilarious.
Certainly to my colleagues in the New Jersey delegation, do what's right. Hi, this is Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill, and I'm going to be voting no on this horrible bill. This bill
Oh,
actually
yay. Pat yourself on the back.
families. It's why so many Republicans are throwing a
It
fit
harms
about it, but
them.
at the end of the day, they'll probably just head over and vote for it because Trump told them to do it. I'm urging all my
Oh,
Republican
yeah.
colleagues, don't do what's right for Trump. Do what's right for families.
Don't do what's right for Trump.
Certainly to my colleagues in the New Jersey delegation, do what's right by working families in New Jersey. And this bill is not it. It's going to kick 400,000 people off of their health insurance. It's going to raise costs by hundreds of dollars on utilities. It's
I
going to
thought
raise
it's 17 million.
to the tune of $30 billion for New Jersey.
Oh, for New Jersey.
It's going to raise costs everywhere, including on mortgages. And you know, one thing this bill is not going to do, it's actually not going to do what the president suggested and lower the deficit. In fact, it's going to add trillions to our deficit. So this bill is a really bad piece of legislation, both because it's going to harm New
Yeah, it
Jersey's
doesn't matter
businesses
what party is in office. They just spend more and more
So I'll be
money.
voting no, and I encourage every single person to help.
I wish it wasn't like that. I wish they didn't have all the garbage in there. I agree with all the fixes that they're doing to Medicaid and Medicare and helping stop that fraud. I agree with all that. I agree with all the border security and deportation money for deportations that they're going to be given. And I agree with the no tax on tips. I think that's still in there. And no tax on overtime. And I agree with all the tax cuts for regular Americans and even billionaires if it's, you know, it's going to help them create jobs. I'm down for that. Because if you just tax the heck out of the rich, you know, the rich are just going to go somewhere else, you know, and they create a lot of jobs, and the taxes they pay is most of the taxes. Most Americans don't pay hardly any taxes. It's only the rich that are paying taxes pretty much. Well, if you don't count the sales tax and all that. Because a lot of just normal working Americans, they all get refunds. Well, I mean, we're getting taxes taken out of our check. Yeah, never mind. Forget what I said. But still, most of the taxes are being paid by rich people, or millionaires or whatever. But a lot of our income is going towards taxes, and it sucks. I mean, who loves taxes? Who is the group that loves raising all the taxes, that loves collecting all the taxes? I mean, and then they go around acting like all they're going to do is tax the rich, and that's never what happens. I mean, just remember when Biden was in. If you had $600 come into your account, the IRS was looking at you. That's what they do. They arm the IRS and have them come after you. That wasn't for the rich. That's for people that had $600 come into their account. You think that's rich people? They just lie to you, man. President Trump is illegally withholding $7 billion Congress appropriated for after-school and summer programs. teacher training, and other educational needs. Meanwhile, he's demanding $1 trillion in tax breaks for the 1%. That's not what American people want. I skipped a bunch of this. An evil man will burn his own nation to the ground and rule over the ashes. Yeah, that's what you guys are doing. A Cloward and Piven of bringing a bunch of illegals into the country. What do you think that does? What do you think it's done? Look how destabilized our country is. All this nonsense. Keeping us locked down forever. It's not what Trump wanted. He wanted 2 weeks. We should have just done the 2 weeks. We shouldn't have even done the 2 weeks. Shouldn't have done any of it. And now we shouldn't have done any of it. So, I mean, why you gotta blame him? The senator who represents a state whose population is smaller than the city of Albuquerque sold out the rest of the country. She tried to get her 750,000 constituents a special deal. Meanwhile, she screwed over 350 million other Americans. Hey. Mike Johnson is voting to cut Medicaid. Nearly 40% of his district relies on Medicaid. Yeah, they're still going to get it, dude. Oh, wait. What she said?
Issued some statements.
Gentleman's recognized.
You got to listen to AOC.
Thank you, and I thank the chairman. President Trump had issued some statements throughout this process saying and urging, insisting that this bill does not cut Medicaid. He's also said some things, he says he doesn't think I'm too much of a smart person. And I'll tell you one thing. It doesn't take a smart person to know if you're being lied to. President Trump,
so she admits it?
You're either being lied to or you are lying to the American people. Because this bill represents, in the text of this bill, the largest and greatest loss of health care in American history. 17 million Americans will lose their health care on this bill, not undocumented people, not quote unquote the disgusting term illegal, but 17 million Americans will have their health care cut from this bill. On this point of tax on tips, as one of the only people in this body who has lived off of tips, I want to tell you a little bit about the scam of that text, a little bit of the fine print there. The cap on that is $25,000. While you're jacking up taxes on people who make less than $50,000 across the United States, while taking away their SNAP, while taking away their Medicaid, while kicking them off of the ACA and their health care extensions. So if you're at home and you're living off tips, you do the math. Is that worth it to you? Losing all your health care, not able to feed your babies, not being able to put a diaper on their bottom in exchange for what? This bill is a deal with the devil. It explodes our national debt. It militarizes our entire economy, and it strips away health care and basic dignity of the American people for what? To give Elon Musk a tax break and billionaires the greedy taking of our nation. We cannot stand for it, and we will not support it. You should be ashamed.
You think she's going to run for president?
Gentleman's recognized for 2 minutes.
Thank you.
I do. I think she's going to run for president. I think people will vote for her too. I mean, I think people are dumb enough to vote for her. Kill the bill and release the Epstein files. Hey, all right. I'm down for it. I'm down for it. If we get the Epstein files instead of the bill, I'm down for it. I ain't too happy about the bill either.
Is it beautiful, this big, beautiful bill? Well, if beauty is in the eye of the beholder, then you, GOP, you have a very blurred vision of what America is about. Is it beautiful to cut off food from seniors and children? Is it beautiful to cut off 17 million people from health care? Is it beautiful to do this, to give tax cuts to billionaires in our country? Is it beautiful to take money from education and the rest? The list goes on and on.
Why does she talk like that? Is it her dentures, or what's going on? Is she drunk? Why does she talk like that? Yeah, it's not beautiful. We get it. Concentration camps. Alligator Alcatraz is it's more of a meme, dude. Is this a place to hold illegals while we deport them, while they get their due process? They sit there and they can see a judge, and then they are deported. Yes, and they are detained there. It's not a concentration camp. It's not Auschwitz. You guys are ridiculous. Everyone knows you're ridiculous. Alright. Let's see. Has he stopped?
Representative Seth Magaziner from the great state of Rhode Island.
Of course not. Let's refresh this.
After years of craftsmanship and timeless style,
$1 trillion on massive tax breaks for the wealthiest amongst us.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever get the vote. If we'll ever get to it. This guy's going to talk for 24 hours again. So, whatever. Alright, I'll call it good there.
Some truths will be hilarious, others painful. But we must be free. We must break into the DisAgorithm.